Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. It is March 25th. I've got some storyline here for you from yesterday, and I'm going to go ahead and read it to you now. These masculines are saying that she talks to every single person and she's listening to every testimony. A masculine said the word liar, and another masculine said she has no idea what's going to happen. So apparently, everybody is being interviewed, and somebody has been discovered to be a liar, apparently. A espionage agent or a mole or a traitor. These guys are talking about how they spent years pouring chaos energy into a woman's vessel. She had to alchemize it and bring temperance to it, and she did. That tempered chaos energy belongs to her now. It's part of her, and she can utilize it however she wants. These guys really messed up. They need to remove her or frame her for some false crime. It's very clear that she is not what they said. She did not do what they said. I'm reminded of the movie Kung Fu Hustle. There's a couple of guys there that play a violin. It's a very big two-person stringed instrument. And it's dark out and the rain's coming down. And they got these really long fingers and they're just kind of sitting there and they're flinging the strings, right? And as they're strumming the strings, they're just flinging out these invisible swords. And they're all going towards this woman and her partner there. And then she takes in a deep breath and she lets out a big scream, and it's called the lion's roar, and it just demolished everything, and it ripped the strings out of that instrument and threw the guy's back and blew their clothes off their body and everything. So these guys, they focused chaos energy into her for years, decades in my case, and now they're saying that she's too powerful. Now these guys, they focused all that energy into her. She alchemized it. She brought temperance to this energy. And they're very upset because they can't take it back. I mean, now they want to unalive her. They want to reclaim it. But it's like, dudes, they thought that they were going to destroy her with that energy. But instead, she's a powerful, masterful alchemist, and she transformed it and kept it for herself. They're very angry. Well, they just didn't think that something like this would ever happen, especially with a woman. I mean, they don't have very high respect for a woman. So these masculines are insisting that she needs to learn her lesson, and she has many times. Over and over and over again, they have denied her entry at the gate. They argue about it for hours. She's passed and surpassed even their greatest achievements. And instead of giving her access to this space, because they're embarrassed that she has surpassed them, that she is greater than them, they strip her sanitizer of her energy and they give it to a copycat, her identity, and send them in through the gate as though they were the one who has earned the right to be this being. They steal her honor every lifetime, and then they knock her out and send her back to the fire for repurposing and another many, many, many lifetimes of suffering. But not this time. God said this is the end of their relationship with batteries. God can see very clearly that they've been denying these divine feminines their entry. They're jealous with envy that the mother has outdone them lifetime after lifetime, but they're so egotistical and fragile, they cannot congratulate her. Instead, they insist that she's unworthy of even living. So, this energy that they've been stealing and abusing the mothers and the children and the fathers with, they worship death. Man, I don't know what to say to you, but I hand it all over to the Most High God, and I say, hey, if they want to steal her honor and her life and force suffering upon her once again, these lessons that she has learned over and over and over again, she has mastered them, every one of them. These men, as a single person and as a collective, a coven, multiple covens, all coming and focusing on her at the same time. A group cannot take her out. And they are insisting that she hasn't learned a lesson. She's not capable of managing herself. It seems as though they are talking about cannabis and smoking, how smoking is considered a temple defilement. However, there are certain components within the cannabis plant, such as CBD, CBG, CBC, I believe, inflammation, pain, sometimes inhalation is the best way to absorb it into the body. And I feel that criticizing this or vilifying it is just a sin against a powerhouse that has surpassed them. Even when they feel that they are defiling themselves, even in this state, they are far better than these ones who are criticizing and demanding that they deserve that energy and those gifts and those prizes. How dare that woman try to get into this heavenly space? They're writing Bibles now, the canonical, whatever the hell, that the woman doesn't even deserve to live. And how Jesus says, oh, he's going to make her just like a man so that she'll be worthy of getting into heaven. May God strike them down. They're really bad representatives of the Father. If these ones are so worried about teaching folks a lesson regarding smoking, why did, in the 50s or whatever that was, science tell families that the doctor-approved smoking was a healthy alternative for stress? It'll make you feel better. They drive people into toxic things, convincing them that it's healthy, and then later on, they deceitfully convict them of this bad thing, saying that they have not learned their lesson. But they have. They learned the lesson that they were being taught. These jackwagons have been complaining about the divine feminine not learning their lessons. But we have. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. At least 3,000 to 4,000 years, lifetime after lifetime. They've burned us alive many times. They've roasted us in that bowl. They've crucified us. Terrible things these men in the name of the Father have done to the mothers, whether they have birth or not, regardless of their age. They claim that we are sacrilegious because we don't fall at their feet as though they are gods. Because we claim that we are source connected. And they know that we're source connected. And they want to separate that connection. So they burn us alive, they torture us. Our souls have been violated so badly for so long. These ones taught people how to be toxic. And many have aced those lessons in many ways. It's time for a new teacher and new lessons, a new approach. Lessons that don't require setting folks up for failure and then convicting them of that failure and then claiming they didn't learn the lesson that they were never taught. They feel that because they teach people, they drive people, they set them up and then convince them that it's a great thing and then involve them in this. And they feel that because they taught them how to fail properly, that they did not learn the lesson well. And this is a weird thing, man. Very weird. Very, very weird entities we've got here posing as men. The curator, his name could be Johnny or whatever, this trafficker of human angelic souls, and his religious sorcerers insist that the woman has not learned her lesson. They demand that they claim her for sacrifice. They want to consume her flesh and her blood. They want to be just like her. And they want to use that as a bridge and a connector to the upper dimensional realms that they, as low-life POS pimps, would never, ever, ever obtain without consuming an angel. They will not feed on this woman ever again. They will not obtain her or her gifts. She's too powerful for these low vibrational worshippers of suffering and death. They know this, and they're trying to convince the population that somehow she's a liar, a deceiver, and they need to throw her out so that they can be, so that she can be dismantled. They want people to fear her. In all of the torturous suffering for thousands of years that they have put her through, she never once became malice or vengeance. All anybody has to do is look at the history. They cannot hold this energy. They're too low vibrational. They can't develop the energy within themselves. They're unable to generate it. And yet they insist that they're the only one who can manage it. The mothers must be protected. They have the portal, the womb that is connected to all star nations of the upper dimensions. It's ridiculous that these false leaders have had this access for so long, using their energy and their gifts to cast this magical illusion and to sever their bridge, to hex and curse their crown and to rot their roots intentionally. These entities survive on the Christed beings' weekly sacrifice, death and sacrifice. Every week, they do this. There's the hidden ceremony and then the one that the public sees. The hidden ceremony does the real thing. The seen ceremony mimics it. All the people participate in the death of an angel every Sunday. They think it's fake, but the real one happens first. And then they just add their energy to it and their prayers. These men have tried to destroy the mother in all of her aspects, but they cannot overcome her this time. She's evolved through the suffering. This organic, original being has evolved through the suffering. And they, as one or a group, cannot cause her failure. They are very angry at her successful ascension and reconnection. They're trying to frame her as an unstable liar, unworthy of her own life. These men aren't men at all. They want to consume her blood and flesh. They want this powerful energy for a sacrifice. They want to be imbued by her own soul. They want to consume her soul. The soul of a lion's daughter, potentially a wife of a jaguar. They have not learned their lesson on how to honor the womb that gave them the privilege of breathing, of being, of thinking. They need to learn their lesson on how to honor the mother who gave them the opportunity for life, the life that they are strategizing on stripping from her right now. These ones keep insisting that others in the world have not learned their lesson. These narcissistic entities only pass those who agree to see them as the authority. They are not. They are jealous and misusing their status. And it's probably a stolen status from a sacrificed identity. These ones aren't teaching lessons. They're providing everything that one needs to experience a complete shattering. Many times, the people have had to start again from nothing after losing everything. These ones keep us in a rebuild, restart mode so that we don't become too successful, so that we don't outgrow them, outdo them. They are holding us in stagnancy by magically interfering in our success. They're messing with the minds and the lives and the environment and driving the whole of the environment into destruction. For example, toilet paper wars. People punching each other out over toilet paper. The most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. Mind control. It happened twice. They were testing their technology, and people are oblivious. They claim the people haven't learned their lesson because they cannot overcome the mental manipulation or interference. Therefore, they're seen as weak and unfit for advancement or positions of power and authority. They set people up for failure and then lie. The people aren't being taught how to overcome the manipulation. They're made to believe that it is the way. These people are teaching youths how to fail, then deceitfully convicting them of not learning a lesson. The lesson they were supposed to learn is not the lesson they were taught. They use this as an excuse to trap them in a loop. You're just not getting it right. You can outdo, you can overcome their world records. You can beat one and many and then groups of many. And they'll still say, you haven't learned your lesson. When it is they who cannot overcome you, they who cannot beat you, they who feel silly and embarrassed because they cannot destroy you. And you're so sweet and loving, and they're just seething with a desire to destroy and hurt. And it's crazy that they're actually arguing about whether or not you should be transferred into this safe space. But this safe space isn't safe, because half of the masculines there just want to unalive you and then drink your blood and eat your flesh. It's not a safe space. If they offered it, I would say, no. No. You have the power and the authority to create your own safe haven. You don't need to take your energy and apply it to these nasties environment who are sitting there trying to be convinced that you should come in, who are arguing that they should just drain you of your life force and recycle you, throw you in the fire, get rid of your personality. The curator and his fellows over there are saying she has no idea how strong she is. And they're trying to convince this peaceful, loving, generous woman they're trying to convince the people that this peaceful, loving, generous woman who has survived at least 3,000 to 4,000 years of torture, and she's still loving, still light, still willing to help and give and be kind. They want to convince the public that she does not have the strength or the will to manage herself. When all of them, thousands of them, did their very best to shut her down, separate her, cursed her, and then they tore her apart, man, on the inside. She is the essence of life. And it is in temperance because she does manage herself well. She's powerful. And these men are embarrassed in her presence because they're not. They're just cruel. These complainers cannot produce this energy in themselves. They had pure energy trapped and nearly destroyed everyone with the stolen essence because they cannot manage the energy. They cannot produce it and they cannot manage it. They're cruel. And that kind of power does not belong in their hands or their authority. They cannot handle the power that the energy of the divine feminine generates. She's got eternal life in her womb. She's connected to all things. All things move through her. And these men are standing there like they want to harvest it. They want that power. They feel inferior because they don't understand what it means to be a father, a protector, a partner, or a friend. We're meant to complement each other. And masculine isn't inferior simply because he doesn't have a womb connected to all things. He's supposed to lay the foundation and make certain that it is safe for the children, for the babies of all things, and that they have what they need to sustain themselves. It's very critical. That's a big job. But these guys didn't want to do that job. They wanted to put on fancy robes and just go, ding, 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 God loves me and hates mother. They cannot manage what they themselves cannot produce. They are incapable and cruel, jealous, envious. They want to destroy the generators, the mothers, divine feminines connected to the all that is. They grow life inside their temple and then push it out into the world. Able to see, able to vocalize, able to breathe. Excuse me. So these are foolish, power-hungry men who want the power of a woman so that they can feed death better by destroying with the creatress life-giving energy and gifts. These threats must be nullified. They cannot have this power. They're too unstable. They're too jealous, and they're too much of a liar. Their life is scripted. It seems perfect on the surface, but it's malicious. The sacred essence of the mother must not fall into their hands again, because they like those dominator, tyrant, brutalizer roles, and that's not what this energy is for. This energy is for bringing forth life, for creating it, for bringing it forth, for sharing it, for nurturing it. That's what it's for. It's not about dominating. It's not about lording oneself over somebody. It's not about prancing around. I'm so strong. I'm so great. No. That's why the mother was chosen to hold this energy, because she doesn't have that attitude for the most part. We got a lot of guys. They've been there. That we got tunnels lined with human skulls. This has been going on a long time. They love it for some reason, these men. Which, they can't be men. They can't be real men. If they were, then they would honor life that they themselves help produce. But instead, they just, as soon as it's old enough, they want to go get it to unalive itself in a stupid war. So they're trying to cast an illusion that the divine feminine is unstable and that doesn't tell the truth, that they've got an attitude. Of course they do. These guys have been pimping the women and the children and gender altering the men for a long, long time. Yes, the mother has a problem with that. Who wouldn't?